Let's do it.
Stand up and clap. Straight up, I'm serious.
Thank you for joining the King-Abrams show. We had a few technical difficulties, so we are starting a few minutes late while I'm about to start a weed fire.
Live. We go live 5 minutes after our scheduled time. I still consider that on time.
On time. I mean, we're mainly on time.
People got to give us a little bit of flexibility. I mean, we've only been doing this for 4 months.
It's 4 months already.
It has. This is episode 17. That's technically the beginning of our 5th month. Do you realize that?
I did not realize that.
That is
wow. How time flies! It's so much fun.
It's a good time, and I wouldn't even know it was episode 17 if you didn't email me and say it was episode 17. Because you number them. Me, I just have it like Thursday. Time set aside on Thursday, where I know I gotta do something.
Well, I don't remember the number. I don't remember much of anything. I tell people I need a magical man, like a little leprechaun, to kind of follow me around and help me daily. That's what I would like. I have to look them up. Yeah, and it's always a surprise when I look at the next upcoming number.
Like,
17 episodes.
Oh no,
we're way in the double digits.
We are. We're solid, man. We're solidly in them in the dubs. I feel like marriages they tend to start to break up after about 7 years. People get that 7-year itch. I don't know when podcasts start to crumble. Is there like a when
are you predicting the crumbling of the King-Abrams show?
I think that is there like a 20 episode itch, like a 30 episode itch or something? Like when is it that we just start to like deteriorate? Like, you don't call me anymore. How come you don't? I saw you doing that other podcast with that other guy.
We're gonna start cheating on each other.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it was that fight we had about your USB drive.
Where is that?
But I haven't mailed back.
You still haven't mailed it yet?
No. First of all, I told you I need little magical men to help me. 1, 2, the thing is in my glove compartment in my car.
Oh.
And I just bought a new vehicle. It's a little bit flossy. So every time I get
you can actually have the post office come to you and pick it up.
I think what I'd rather do is just send it, like go on Amazon and buy you a new one and send it to you. Or do you need shit? This is totally an offline conversation.
Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, so just so everybody knows what we're talking about, right?
Right.
At the beginning of our show, 17 weeks ago, all right, 17 weeks ago, Samantha and we met up in Las Vegas to do a series of promo photo shoots, record a little promo video to introduce the podcast, and so we had all the pictures on my computer, and in order for Sam to have them fast enough so she could start to post them and utilize them, I gave her my only thumb drive that I had. It's like a 2 terabyte. It's not like a big deal, Sam. But it's like a 2
terabytes. It's pretty large.
It has a lot of storage space. Anyway, so I gave you that thumb drive. I said, take these pictures down to LA, pop that in the mail for me, when you're done, and that's all good. And here we are, 17 weeks later. I don't think I'm gonna see that thumb drive.
You're gonna see it. It's just you're just gonna have to suffer first. I don't know. Just forget. I need to I need to put it on my calendar.
And you wonder.
I'm an asshole. What do you want me to say?
And you wonder why I'm talking to other podcast hosts.
That's that part. Right. If you start cheating on me, I don't know why.
There you go. But So that's something that I'm surprised because you've actually called me from the post office to verify my address. I'm here at the post office. I'm about to mail it, but I forgot your address. Give it to me. I give it to you, and I expect it's going to be arriving in my place in like a couple of days. I'm like, what happened to that thumb drive?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I remember being at the post office and then texting you, and then you didn't reply fast. I had to leave the post office, and I was going to go back and da 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 da. I'm an asshole.
I'm a slow texter, is what it is.
Well, it's okay. I am a I wouldn't say certified asshole because some people on this planet that actually like me.
I actually forget about it. So I forget about it because I don't need it day to day. But it's like when I do think about it to need it, that's when I'm like, oh, Sam hasn't mailed me that thumb drive yet. You know what I use them for? Now, you know what I use them for right now is I use them for when we're traveling. We have a video screen in our SUV so that our kid can watch movies and stuff. You know, when we're traveling, we load up the thumb drive with all kinds of like her favorite videos and stuff. You know. And that's fine. We got one for her. I bought one for her, one for my partner, and one for me. And so we can all have our favorite content, you know. So when the kid goes to sleep, then I put my thumb drive in. I can watch my movies, you know, while we're driving, whatever.
So anyways, I have your thumb drive?
Yeah, you got mine. You got mine.
Okay.
My kids is in the car, and so I have been forced to watch nothing but Paw Patrol episodes everywhere I drive.
I told you you're gonna have to suffer. Paw Patrol.
That's right.
I understand.
It's non-stop Paw Patrol. I'll try to put something else on that drive for her. I'm like, come on, you want to watch Frozen? It's like, no, Paw Patrol, Paw Patrol. I'm like, oh, more Paw Patrol. So anyways, so yeah, if I have my thumb drive, and also every time I think about it, I need a thumb drive, I remember, oh, well, Sam's got mine. She's going to send it to me. So I just hold off and not buy a new one.
I'm going to send it. I have to remember. I have to get it out of my glove compartment. It's like out of sight, out of mind. And then
yeah.
have it.
I know.
So,
I totally know.
How you been this week? I've had an incredibly hectic and stressful.
Yeah.
Busy
no,
week.
You were talking a little bit. You were talking a little bit about that before the show. Do you want to talk about it on the show, or do you just want to just kind of leave?
I'm such an open book. I don't have anything to hide. I don't mind bringing up personal business, but I think that's a sort of a part of the show and what the planning was. I don't know if I thought it all the way through before making that decision, but yes. So if for those that have been watching, then. Or listening, you know that I wrote a book about the brain science of sex, love, addiction, and heartbreak, and self-worth, and so forth. And I did that because I got my heart broken by a man we titled The Player, Complete Player. It's very funny, and it's also academic. And I do use, it's not a book about him, but he certainly inspired the writing of it. I really just explain what everyone goes through, what are the neurological makings of heartbreak, sex, love, lust, and how does that affect you, right, in your personal lives? And so, so how does that all come to the surface? And then 2 years later, after not after writing the book, but after having stopped seeing this man, this player.
Wait, so you wrote the book and still continue to see him?
Yes, I wrote the book and then
See, I didn't know that
on and off relationship.
I didn't know that part. That's hilarious to me.
Right. I couldn't get away from him because I loved him. And even though he was a hot mess, there was always this hope. I mean, who knows why women stay?
That is one successful player right there. Yeah. That is really.
Yep. So
you even wrote a book about him and still continue to go back. So he's been doing something.
Yeah, well, I don't know what he was doing, or it was more. I don't know if he was doing something, or if it was more me being just, disillusioned. As I was just, demonstrating earlier. If you want to know what Boo Boo the Fool looked like, here you go. Here you go, right here. That's what I felt like. So he came out of the blue. 2 years later, he had checked in, made a quick check-in. A year after I stopped seeing him and had nothing to say. It was just a casual encounter, which was quite hurtful to me. I mean, it didn't feel good. It judged up all his emotions. And so then a year passed again, and then he came back. Meanwhile, I've been seeing someone casually for 2 years. I think 2 years is a long time. But again, that was because of the pandemic. Just sort of extended our situation. And so the player came back, and it's been a couple of months, maybe 3, of him just saying I'm sorry in different forms and admitting that he fucked up and how and why. And he suffered a tragedy this week, a very close tragedy. He lost someone very close to him, and I was there. I was there because I love him, and you know, when you do it, you cook, you feed people, and you
Mm-hmm.
visit with them and sit there quietly, and then an occasional hug. And so I did all of those things. And you know, I overdo it as my handle because I tend to overdo things. And I did all of those things out of love. And at the end of it, really was just him again using me this time, not for my body, but just for my support. He needed to get through a tough time. And I think that he
Yeah.
thought that it was okay to come back after 2 years to give me the wrong impression so that he could have someone to hug on. And
Did he
banana
know though?
pudding.
Did he know that he was going to be losing? Yes, I mean,
Yes, she was ill. I mean, of course, you don't
oh,
know
okay,
when it's
okay.
going to
So,
happen. Well, I don't want to
she
talk
got
too much
sick.
about that.
Sure, but she got sick, and then he called you, and then like just like used you for support basically through
Yes,
this whole.
someone
Yeah,
passed away in his life. Yeah, that's what
yeah,
happened. Unfortunately, so I got my feelings hurt a little bit, and I
yeah.
just took it all out on peanut butter. That's what I did. I just took it. I just
and
peanut butter.
and
If you don't know,
for those of you who are
yeah,
new to the show, it's not. She ain't saying that she was binge eating.
I didn't eat
Peanut
actual
butter
peanut
is
butter.
the name she gave to the non-committed
Yeah,
relationship in her life. You know, so yeah, that's a real big bummer to have
yeah.
to go through, man.
It's a big bummer.
It's like you're in an emotional roller coaster, but you know you don't even know which direction the roller coaster is
Yeah,
going.
exactly.
You know, yeah,
I stuck my toe in
yeah.
just to, because I was going to listen to him. He wants to say, I'm sorry. I'll go hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And I stuck my toe in. He was acting like a man in love. And then, I'm pulling my toe out because it's some bullshit.
Right.
Nothing has changed. He's
Right.
still selfish, potentially
You
a
know,
narcissist.
people reach out though when they feel like when something's when there's negativity in their life and they're just grasping. You know, it's like
Yeah, they reach out.
you imagine you're drowning and you're just trying to grab onto whatever you can. You know, and as let me reach. There's a stick right here shaped like Samantha Abrams. Let me reach that one. You know, and so
and here she go. Here she comes.
Yeah.
Boo boo da boo boo da boo boo da boo is here. Sweet potato pie, mac and cheese. Look, that was my dumb ass.
Did your boob just fall out of that shirt? Because it kind of looked like it from our perspective.
It might have. It's happened before.
The camera was not low enough, but it was like for a minute there I got distracted. I was like, "What the hell?"
It came close.
You're doing that. I want you to do that facial expression more often. That's unfortunate. It really is, and
it is.
But that's you know what it is. I mean, honestly, you wrote a book called The Complete Player about this guy and how he played you, and so you should not at least have been surprised at all.
No. Not at all.
About any sort of potential playing again, if that's it. No. You know what I mean? So
no, I mean I'm fully aware. Again, I'm not I'm not butthurt right now. I mean, I knew, like I said, I cautiously went into it, or you were going to say.
But I should also add too, in support of you, Samantha, is good for you. Even though the outcome might have been somewhat difficult, good for you for being there for somebody who you care about in their time of need, honestly. And you, as far as I'm concerned, as far as you should be concerned about your own behavior, you've done nothing wrong. You acted the way a person should act when you care about somebody and they are hurting and struggling.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So that's, I'm okay with that piece. And thank you for that. I just, I did get my hopes up because, he said some things that I hadn't heard before.
Oh, sure.
So there I was processing new information,
Speaking,
I didn't really have to do any of that.
Right.
I didn't have to waste my time doing any of that.
Right.
But anyway, hey, I'm good. Listen, the weird thing, one of the most penetrating pieces to the relationship that he and I shared in the very beginning when he met me was that he is a rich man. I would imagine. I mean, that can be interpreted. People have different standards, but certainly by my standards, he's a rich man. And at the time, I wasn't just broke. I was poor. Right. I was newly divorced. I had 2 children and no job. and rent to pay. And it was rough as fuck. And then there I was seeing him, and it was odd that at the end of it all, even though I fully loved him and I feel like on some strange, narcissistic level, he cared for me, somewhere similar to how my mother cares for me, but she don't like me very much, never has. She's somewhat of a narcissist. I know she loves me. She doesn't like me. That's what I've always maintained. I think the guy likes me, at least. I'll stop there. But it was odd how that dynamic of him having money and me needing it. I didn't just not have money. I needed it.
Right.
It really affected the dynamic of what we shared, to the extent that when we had an on and off relationship. When I did get away from him, it was the dire situation I found myself in financially. Those, reoccurring periods where I needed help. And what the fuck else am I going to do?
Right.
Call him and ask. Especially considering every time I asked him, he gave me money and more than I asked for usually. Well, and then I think in his mind, he felt like those should have been proofs that he cared. But we're kind of coming from a man who doesn't know how to show love.
And some people, that's the only way they do know how to show love.
Right.
Is doing something of a practical value.
Yeah.
It's like, the whole argument is like, you never do anything. You never buy me flowers. I'm like, yeah, but I bought you a car and I pay your rent. You know what I mean? Like it's not an obvious sign of romance or love, but there's definitely practical value to the activity.
It was the financial state to our relationship was a huge affecting piece, characteristic.
Oh, of course.
And so today's show is titled Broke Sex versus Rich Sex. And appropriately, because the guest that I chose tonight, this is a multi-talented entertainer. He's an actor, comedian, and he also has his hand in giving lectures about credit and how to repair your credit and lots of ways to save money. And he's cheap and not broke, he says. And
is he that guy from Credit Karma commercials?
No, I don't know. He's the same guy, but he probably knows more than that guy about credit. I've been to a couple of, I guess, seminars about credit, and certainly walked away with a lot. So I want to bring him into the conversation, you guys. The very talented gentleman, entertainer, Malcolm Hall. Everybody, warm welcome. Thanks for joining, Malcolm. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. You're usually wearing your own brand of clothing.
Well, we had a variation of that. Stay woke, not broke.
There it is.
Same thing, but people out here falling asleep and broke. So you need to stay woke and keep getting your money.
That's right. So you've been listening to us. You were here with us at the start of the show. And by the way, before we get it in too deep, I just want to say, Brian, that your hat is spectacular.
Thanks.
I love it.
I didn't have like an interesting background today, so I figured I would just I'd put a little flair on. I am in Texas. I am in Texas, and I am like an old white man, so I feel like a cowboy hat fits me perfectly.
It works. It does.
It really does.
Malcolm, we've been talking about money dynamics, and money is your area of expertise. You're a very talented comedian. Love to see you on stage. And then I know that you're acting. I didn't look up your IMDb, admittedly, but I know you take an acting class. I want to call it foo-foo acting class with a lot of brothers and sisters in the gang that I know are successful. And so let's talk about, have you ever been carried, or have you ever carried someone, meaning you or the other person was making way more money? And then how did that affect things?
Have I been carried? No.
Okay.
Not too many women are carrying men.
Yeah.
So
you missing out.
It's not a thing that I've done.
Okay.
I mean, and me, I don't have a lot of money. So I haven't carried very many women. I keep it real. This is where I'm at.
Right.
This is what it's going to be.
Right.
So there are no expectations.
Right.
Or unexpectations, because you don't want to expect something that you're not going to get.
But that's uncommon because most men, I would say most men, I hate to generalize, but a lot of men will put on, it's kind of like, it's like they're putting on Instagram from, they really don't have any money, but they buy certain, pieces of designer clothing or like a chain or something, so to make, or get a flossy car and be a car poor in an apartment.
That's what they had. That's what they
right.
had.
That's what hats for, to make a woman think that he can be more of a provider than he actually can. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, but I would also say that there's some things that you can tell, like, because a lot of people put on, but I can kind of, I work with credit, I can kind of tell. Because people who don't have money are constantly always trying to spend it to show something. Like Warren Buffett, he looks like wears the same suit all the time. He doesn't even change his clothes that much.
Right.
Jeff Bezos, richest man in the world, he doesn't really change his clothes. So these guys with all the money, they don't really show that. It's flossy.
Yeah.
Like
but flossy is supposed to help you get girls.
It's supposed to, but it won't help you keep girls. You
Ah.
can get a girl flossy, but you can't keep her because
Right.
she's going to want to keep going to that restaurant. I can only take you twice.
Right.
She wants to go once a month.
Yeah.
We can't do all that. She wants to get her nails done, her hair done. I don't have those same kind of principles.
Right. So tell me what's your approach?
So my approach is like, look, you see how I live. You see where I work.
Right.
So why would I do more for you than I'm doing for myself? That would put me in a hole. And a lot of women, they expect a dude to do more for them than the man is doing for themselves.
Sure.
That's crazy.
It is a little crazy.
Yeah. How are you going to ever get a house? I mean, a lot of girls, they use with apartments. Accomplishment is a home. If you got a man with a 2-bedroom home, he's doing something.
Okay. And so what would be your estimated fail rate? In other words, how many of these women said to you, you know what, I'm not interested because you live in a studio?
Not too many, because I stay in my league.
They like the honesty.
They like the honesty, and I stay in my league. But if you're not with it, that's cool.
Right.
Because I'd rather get told no today.
But you've had successes.
I've had success.
Have you had any failures?
I've had some failures.
What's the percentage? Less than 10%?
I say like 30%, 70,
That's
30.
a pretty high fail rate.
But you got to keep shooting.
But it's a numbers game anyway.
It's a numbers game, right? It's a numbers game. But I think as time goes on, you know who you cannot date.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, look, if you like to go out to eat 4 or 5 times a week, I'm not the guy for you. I cook at home. I cook.
Can you look at a woman and tell if she's the kind of woman that you can't date, or do you have to get to know her first?
I mean, you probably got to at least have a conversation. I can't look. I got to at least have a conversation.
If she's wearing red bottoms and like Balenciagas, are you even going to try to step to her?
If she's cool, yes.
Okay.
Because we might get into conversation. My girl gave me all this. This is not even mine. So I don't, just let it be her stuff. So you never know a person's situation.
Right.
This car might be leased. This might be your cousin's house. So I got to talk to you. People front all the time with the money. It's easy.
Right. It is.
It's real easy.
Yeah.
I wear gold chains. They're
Right.
not real, but they look good. Look good in the picture.
Yeah. People think I'm balling. I've heard people make comments. It's like, I am not fucking balling.
Balling is when you pay bills and you still have a smile on your face.
Okay, well, I'm balling. I'm balling on a budget, right?
Balling on a budget. I think, but like when you're talking about love and like the man
it does affect it.
It does, because I know men with a lot of money.
Yeah,
they get a lot more women. They have a lot more access to women. But
but can you keep her?
Can you keep her?
Does she really love you? I don't think women stay with men forever because of money. They have to love. I mean, how miserable would that be?
It is definitely part of getting your foot in the door.
If somebody has money, you can't put their hands on you. You're not going to talk that.
Right.
So I think everybody has limits.
Everybody has.
We
their
all
own
want
limit.
money, but there's limits to it. Like, I like money, but I'm not a person that wants to work overnight. That's not my thing, because I like to sleep and that throws my schedule off. So I will pass on, but some people, not so much.
Different strokes. What say you, Dr. Brian King? Have you ever been carried by a woman, vice versa?
There's been 2 times, 2 times in my life where I've been carried, and they both were when I was still in graduate school. So, that my excuse is that I was broke and I had no prospects of alleviating that until I finished my PhD. So.
Yeah.
There was one time, like one was an interesting relationship. A friend of mine who had just become wildly successful. I was going to school in New Orleans, Louisiana, and she was like, I want to go out to a nice dinner. And Emeril Lagasse had just opened up a new restaurant in New Orleans. This is a long time ago. And she's like, I want to go to this place, Emeril's. I'm like, I can't afford Emeril's. I'm a broke grad student. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take you to Popeyes. It's a great,
Okay.
it's a great local chicken joint. And she's like, oh no, I'm treating. And
did it make you feel bad when she treated
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, let me tell you, that was one of the most memorable nights of my life. Okay, first of all, I had never dropped as much money on a meal as we dropped that night. It was about a $600 meal, dinner for two. We're having a good time and stuff like that. And Emeril is actually there because this is like new in his career. Emeril Lagasse is like walking around greeting people, table next to me, I kid you not, Lenny Kravitz.
How funny.
Yeah, Lenny Kravitz and his whole little entourage, the table next to me. We started talking. It was absolutely wonderful. A really awesome night. And I was like, you know what? You're picking up the tab. I don't feel I feel bad about that. This is fantastic.
Right.
I got to hang with Lenny. The only reason I don't have pictures of that moment is because this is before like digital. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't going to carry around a roll of film in my pocket going out to dinner. The other time was also in grad school, and this is when I met one of my long-term friends. But I started out dating her and we had a nice relationship. But I remember when we first met, she was in the workforce and I was still in school. And, I was struggling and she was making money. And so she's like, look, you can live with me. You can, here's my extra car. You could drive this car. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, I will never forget those two people's contribution to helping me get to where I am today. They were like stepping stones, and it was just, without their help, I wouldn't have those experiences.
And that just further proves your point, Malcolm, that everybody has their own sort of threshold for what feels good and what's normal and what's not. When I was married once, and for the first part of the marriage, I made way more money than my husband did. In fact, I don't remember he even had a job when we got married. He was not a rich man. He was incomeless, I believe. And I think that bothered him. I think there's some in that where it bothers them that they can't, fill that role.
Because you're conditioned for that role. TV tells you that everywhere you look, nobody has to tell you anything.
Yeah,
you can sit and listen, and that's what you're gonna get. You got to have these certain things. You got to have some money. You got to have a car. So I'd say as a man, if you don't have that, it will affect you because it's like I don't want to get in a situation where it'll kind of affect your pride. You don't have it, and still it's something you still have to get. You can't just make money appear like that. You got to have a way of obtaining it.
Yeah.
But I'll say the real test of love is when you don't have money. Will she stay? Because that's a real thing as a man. If the money runs out, is she going to leave too? And you don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a really good point.
Crazy to me.
And that's a really good point. I like to add, like those two moments when I had women in my life who were sort of taking care of me, both of them occurred while I was actively working towards a goal that was hopefully going to deliver more in the future. It's not like I was just sitting around doing nothing, playing video games.
Right. You had a plan.
And like I was working on that PhD. That's why they call me Dr. Brian King. So it's I was broke, but I wasn't like some just loser, and I think that was a big difference in their mind. I was worth the investment. A man that's not worth the investment, or anybody, the man or woman, anybody who's not worth the investment, it should be just that, somebody that we don't invest that much in.
And then let me ask you this, Malcolm. So have there been moments in your life where you made way more money than you're making now? Like, have you had the highs and the lows?
I have.
And then during the highs, do you feel more confident to approach women, or maybe do you feel like your personality might become more confident in the relationship?
No, because the money, it allows us for opportunity to do stuff, but the time spent. Because I can have a lot of money, but if I don't like you, it's just not gonna work. I don't want to spend
Right.
10 hours, 4 hours on a private jet somebody I don't like. I'd rather sit and coach with somebody I do like.
Right. But do you
Now you're
feel
talking about
more
jets and coach. Here I am riding the
Yeah,
bus.
you're all the way to the fucking private jets. No, I'm what I'm asking really is, do you feel like some do, you hear the comedians, they say, the kind of money I want to make, like I think it's Kevin Hart that said, or some, I'm not sure, don't quote me. I want to make the kind of money where you can just look at a bitch and say, shut the fuck up. Like that's the joke, right? You get to talk to her any kind of way she'll do. And then do you feel personally, like I know you're not like the typical, right, player, right? You're not, you would be considered a nice guy. Right. And so, but do you feel like, I mean, even in fantasy, like if you all of a sudden, you just came into revenue and you're making millions of dollars, do you feel like, you don't have to put up with certain shit then?
Yeah, I definitely I can put up with certain shit. Definitely.
But I mean, it more shit you got to add to the list because of the money.
Yeah, it's going to change. It's going to change. It has to change. I mean,
it does.
It has to
like,
change.
give me an example. Like, what could you put as a broke dude that you won't put up with if you had money?
I mean, VIP, no more lines. I can walk straight in. And
no, I'm talking about with your relationship. With
oh,
your
my
woman.
relationship.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is a sex show.
What would I put up with more?
Like you wouldn't turn around and be like, now that I'm making $2 million a month, you wouldn't turn around to a bitch and just say, shut the fuck up and expect her to.
Nah, because that's not who I am at my core.
Right.
So I wouldn't do anything like that.
There's an income level. There's an income level where you can no longer deal with small boobs.
I would hope I wouldn't try to solve my problems with the money.
A joke.
Because when you have money, you kind of throw it at the problems rather than talk it out. When you're broke, you don't have any money, you got to talk about it. When you got money, let's go do something.
Huh.
And I wouldn't want to turn to that guy. Let's just go do something, go past it, forget it. That's only going to last so many times. Because if you don't have any money, we can't just go run out to dinner and I'll buy you something and keep you quiet.
So you got to talk about it.
You got to talk about it.
That's a good point.
But when you have money, you
could be like, shut the fuck up, bitch.
and go buy you something.
And then go buy.
But if it's somebody you have longevity with, I don't see that lasting forever. It'll come a point where that's not going to work.
So I used to use this kind of expression, and although it's horribly misogynistic, I used to say, like, if a girl is hot enough, a guy will put up with a whole lot of crazy.
So it's kind of similar.
And I think that money is the male equivalent of that. Like if a guy is rich enough, a woman will put up with a lot more crap than she would put up with otherwise. And to your point, Malcolm, you can also dish out the crap. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying that's kind of the reality in some people.
It provides that access. I mean, because women are attracted to rich men, no matter how they look.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not that they're attracted to his money. It's not the bank account that makes her horny. What makes her horny? No, it's not even the money. What makes her horny is that this man clearly has done something to get this money. So he's either smart or somehow capable. And those characteristics are what make him sexy. Yeah, it's not the money that makes her wet. It's his drive.
But a man without money can have that same kind of drive.
And she can get just as wet.
So it has nothing to do with the money.
I think there are certainly is a thing called gold digger.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that these women don't exist. And in fact, I know there's women, and I'm not friends with them because I can't relate to certain things, but all they can seem to talk about is how they're going to get a man with money. And so I think it seems to be the plan is to find a man who's nice enough that you can tolerate him and he's rich, and then you'll be set. I think that is just absolutely upside down, and it's annoying every time. There's one particular person I'm thinking of. Every time she talks, it's like, fuck, bitch, do you think about anything else? I get that there are those women, but I think for a large majority of sane-minded women, and I always have to say that, sane-minded women, it's about love. Like for me, okay, this guy's rich, right? But I fully fucking love his dirty draws, right? And I have put up with some dumb shit and clearly still am. Apparently, that's how it's gonna go. But it has nothing to do with the money. I'm telling you that what I'm attracted to is what he's got in his inner core. And he did something to get that money. So it's like, I mean, he's definitely sexier than a homeless man who's done fucking nothing. Like, gross, right? It's not just the money. There are women, but I think that the woman that you're gonna end up hopefully marrying is not one of them.
Right.
You don't want that. You want somebody who really loves you.
True, but it's hard. It's hard to see.
It's hard to decipher.
It's hard to decipher that. It's very, very hard because as a man, you gotta have resources. I don't care what my drive. I gotta have some
because
resources.
You don't know which type you're gonna end up picking.
Right. But you like that. You can't come with nothing to the table. I mean, driving sexy.
You better have a fucking plan. You better have at least a plan. I married a man with no job, but he had a plan.
Maybe that's just me because I'm kind of money driven. So I had a problem with that too. Everything's not all about money, and I had to learn that.
Okay,
and I had to get into some relationships to understand that.
Right,
because I didn't have the money, so I would like not want to do something. It's like, well, I got money, let's go do it. But like, I don't. So she's like, well, why should we not do it? Because you don't have the money. I have the money. I still want to do it.
Right.
See, now it's a pride thing. Right. I didn't understand that.
Right.
She had to sit down and talk to me.
It's a complicated thing.
It is. It definitely is. But
it's a complicated thing because because people can't read each other's minds. And you don't know what someone's intent, what their intention is, what their purpose is.
And as men, you don't really learn emotional communication. I had to teach you that.
Do you feel like that woman loved you who was trying to pay for everything?
Yeah, I think she loved me, but it wasn't about me. I was making it all about me. If I got it, we can do it. If I don't, we can't. That's not fair. I didn't see it like that.
Sure. That's not fair. That's really fucking annoying.
It's really, but when you're thinking, you hear this whole, I'm a man, I have to pay for this. I got to pay for, you hear it all the time. Oh, well, my woman shouldn't take care of anything. I dealt with some of these men, their finances, they're broke.
Yeah, there's a lot of men out there do not mind being paid for it, but hey.
And you're limiting her because now she can only go as far as you can. And that doesn't work.
That's right. It doesn't work.
No.
So yes.
Well, this shit is all over the place. Here's what the research says. Absolutely fucking nothing. I tried to look. I couldn't use the word broke, so I used poverty. I'm good at finding articles, Dr. King, and I couldn't find one reputable article on how financial, either socioeconomic or just financial status affects dating and or relationships and sexual satisfaction. What I found.
Well, let me see.
Let me just finish this.
I was just going to say.
Well, let me just say what I found were a bunch of studies that were primarily based in Africa, in poor places in Africa, and the studies were all linked to pathologies, pathologies, right? Like HIV or even homosexuality, which it's interpretable, whether it's a pathology, which is a problem that is, and drug use and STDs and so forth. And so there's no research out there, and it's all over the place. Right.
Well, there's a reason for that. Generally speaking, when you can't find any research about a subject where you absolutely should find some research, it's because the research has been conducted and nothing was significant. Like you can't publish research results where you don't find a statistically significant difference between a group or another group. And so the fact is, as that you've implied, is that money doesn't seem to have an influence over sexuality, and it does, and it really doesn't, because at no matter what level of money or income you have, people find ways to have sex. People find, So, for example, we've been talking a lot about the attraction and the appeal of people with lots of money versus people that have no money. But then if you go on any, we talked about daytime TV like Maury and that kind of stuff last week, right? If you watch these shows, and there's always some broke dude from like a trailer park or a ghetto, and he's got like 3 girls that he's actively cheating on at the same time. He's clearly getting some sex. They're clearly having sex. He's having successful relationships, and he's got no money. People find ways around that to attract. People find ways to attract partners. People find all kinds of ways. So that's one reason why you're not finding a lot of research, is because it's
all over the place.
Yeah, it's like there's no effect. There's no effect of income on sexual behavior. You know, people are having sex when they have money. People are
Period.
having sex when they don't have money. You know, people are having sex. You know, it's you have to get really specific in how you look at data before you can start to see any sort of effect. And that's why you found stuff in the populations you did, because it's very specific. You know, and the certain types of questions you did. But yeah, people everywhere of all socioeconomic strata are doing it and not doing it at the same level.
Birds do it. Bees do it. Cole Porter knew.
Yeah. Now it would seem to us, because we fall into sort of a certain type of demographic network, that it would seem to us that there would be some kind of relationship, because I know when I've had less money, I've had less sex. Malcolm has been talking about, and so it's just not there.
Yeah, you're right. And it makes sense, because the discussion is all over the place, because there's so many different affecting pieces. And then everybody's going to interpret that differently, right? We all had 3 different experiences.
Think money affects your preference of who you want to have sex with? Because you still go, well, I would say, like, there's no, like, you're saying people don't have money, they still have sex.
Yeah, I mean, what's sexy about him? I mean, I want to know that part. I want to know if he's broke, or if he's balling, or if he's somewhere in the middle. But that doesn't affect whether I choose to have sex with him. I'm looking, what makes him sexy is his physical appearance, how he walks, his swagger, whether he's intelligent. Because if he's not intelligent, and if he doesn't have any money, what is he doing? Can I respect what he's doing? His grind. That's sexy, right? Could I get behind him? Do I believe in him? Does he really have the talent to make it? That's sexy.
That's the stuff you hear from your mother.
That's real. That's real. And there are real women that feel that way. I agree. Grown women will feel that way.
Grown, and coming up through your 20s, you're not going to get none of that.
Yeah, in my 20s, I did not feel that way. I was looking for 8-figure nigga.
Would you say you learned those things?
I just was drunk. I had to learn, listen, ultimately I had to sober up. My personal experience was that I sobered up, and then I figured out who I was. But I was, a drunk person. And so I wouldn't be the only one. There's a whole demographic of me out there, a bunch of alcoholics out there turning up and just thinking about that glam life, because their minds are so cluttered with drugs and or alcohol that they are not thinking straight, and they are not thinking viably about their futures. It's hard to think about your future when you've only been on the planet for 22 years, 25 years. When you're 45 or higher, then there's a thing called maturity. So yes, there are a lot of younger women, but again, grown women, there are pure-hearted people everywhere, and there's assholes everywhere. But it's not impossible that she is actually into you, even though you happen really into you and in love with you, even though you also happen to be rich. There's something about you that she likes. And I'm telling you, for most women, there are some gold diggers, of course. They're just thinking about the money. They don't give a fuck. They're just thinking about, can I tolerate this motherfucker so that I can have the nice house and the pool and the access to the money. But I think, again, for mature, sane-minded women who, as humans, we have to pick through and sift through who gets to stay in our space. So we hope that we'd hope that we pick someone to mate with for a lifetime that has a genuine interest in us. Yeah, it's not the money, it's what he did to get it that's sexy. That's how I feel, and I know a lot of women could relate. We're over time. This has been a good discussion.
It has. It's a discussion you don't have enough amongst men. It's not
they don't hear this. They don't hear women talking like I'm talking.
No, because definitely not. I mean, I'm sure some men have never heard that.
Huh.
I'm 100% sure. And not even probably from their mother, because, love is not guaranteed. We don't all get that.
No, and you can fall out of love.
Yep.
Or you could choose to love someone from afar, not be in their space. Listen, what are you doing, Malcolm? Are you performing? Are you hitting? I see you out there hitting stages.
I'm hitting the stage tomorrow. I am at the Federal Bar with host Vaughn Roberts.
Oh yeah.
And I hope to be here tonight. I will be here tonight.
Okay.
And still teaching financial literacy. So if you have some questions, hit me up at Stress Money Less on Instagram.
There it is. Okay, say that again because we don't have that as a graphic. So they're gonna go Stress Money Less.
Stress Money Less on Instagram, or you go to the website www.stressmoneyless.com.
I love it. www.stressmoneyless.com. You guys, comedian Malcolm Hall knows a whole hang of a lot about money and finances and credit, and so check him out. And also go onto his Instagram. We're at Black Kung Fu.
Yep, now that's where the foolishness is. You want to see? You want to see Black Kung Fu?
Black Kung Fu had the double beating there. Yeah, so check him out. Malcolm Hall, very, very funny comedian. Definitely worth the time. You guys, Dr. Brian King, we wrote books that so I spoke about my book. You want to talk about your book, and then we'll get the graphics up and promote ourselves.
Yeah. Malcolm, I love that you talk about stress with regard to money, because I talk about stress all the time, stress relief, and the number one cause of stress is money-related issues. It's, in our world, we stress about money. My book, The Art of Taking It Easy, is all about how to manage stress, and even has a chapter written there about finances, getting finances in order and not being overextended and so forth. It's available anywhere books are sold. And it's an international bestseller. I don't mind mentioning it.
Yay. Well, that's right. And you can find both our books on Amazon. You can get the paperback, hardcover, or ebook for The Art of Taking It Easy by Dr. Brian King. And you can look up The Complete Player by Samantha Abrams and get the ebook or the paperback. Again, check out at Black Kung Fu, Malcolm Hall. There's my book. There's the graphic. That's me on the cover with my red bottoms. That's right. You would come holler at me even though I was wearing my red. I feel like when I wear those shoes, I don't get hit on.
I feel like most people put the centerfold on the inside of the book.
I put it right on the outside on the cover. Hey, listen, this has been another fun one. Shout out to our producer, Samson Crouppen. This has been another case of the King-Abrams show.